Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm never better, never in doubt, David. This one was never in doubt.
It was always in doubt. Although that crappy goal Swayman let in the second,
Thank you,
we've often
Jeremy
talked.
Swayman.
Yeah, we've often talked about how psychologically difficult it is for a team to recover from a terrible goal against.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Oilers did it tonight, but
Yeah.
the Bruins did not. Bruce, 3-2 overtime victory. It sounds like that should be exciting, but in a lot of ways, it wasn't exciting at all this game until the very end. And then it got really exciting really fast. But man, in a lot of ways, it was just a dispirited, weak effort by the Oilers. So, and you were there, eh?
I attended this game, and I have to say I hated most of it. But it was, I mean, obviously happy ending.
Yeah.
But I didn't think the Oilers were very disjointed for much of the affair, for sure. And they only really, the big boys finally got their stuff together in the last 5 minutes of the third period, which you're going to talk about. And Boston, they were just doing their best to run out the clock and disrupt and thwart, and they created a little bit, Boston, but then once they got the lead, and of course that didn't take long. In fact, they had the lead before I sat down. There was a big lineup at security, so I watched the first shift from the top of the stairs, and they scored before the first whistle.
Well,
And
that's
then I went down,
frustrating.
and then I sat down, and the Oilers were basically trailing from then until almost the end. And of course, the Oilers never had the lead until literally the game was over because they had the lead. They scored in overtime to end it. That was their only lead of the night. And they were skating uphill for 56 minutes or something. Anyway, it was a long stretch of Edmonton trailing, and it looked like Boston. It took me all the way back to 1979, David, the first time I ever saw Boston Bruins play live in the first season of the Edmonton Oilers. And I remember, and Edmonton was playing well against a lot of teams, but Boston came to town, and Edmonton had 4 shots in the first period, and then they had 4 shots in the second period. And I think they got the instruction to shoot from everywhere because they got 8 shots in the third period, lost 2-1. And it seemed like it was going to be just like that, Boston. I think that game they were up 2-0, and they hung on to win 2-1, and they just sort of shut her down. And I had sort of the same sort of dread feeling that they just never were going to break through tonight. But of course, eventually they did break through. So
you have these incredible, talented players on your team. Boston used to have this checking center, Steve Casper, who used to give.
I mentioned his name tonight to my friend, my
McDavid
seatmate.
Fitz, but they're not the team they were even last year. They don't. They lack some bite right now. Bruce, this is our Two Good Things, Two Bad Things, and Two Numbers podcast. What's your good thing?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stu Skinner. I thought he bounced back hard in this game from a pretty ugly game against Florida. Let's face it, and a pretty ugly start to this one on an outside shot. It looked terrible from just looked like the guy shot it from the boards and it went right into the net somehow. Now Chris Knobloch insisted the puck was deflected. I think you got. I never saw a true replay, but it was tipped.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Deflected.
Okay. Couldn't hear.
No
couldn't
doubt
hear
about it. It would not have gone in otherwise.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sure. I'll just say it right now. It's my bad thing. Just leap ahead to that because it's come up here, and it's a bad thing because it's the kind of thing that has the whole rink turn on the goalie. Yeah. Everyone's already, half the people are inclined to turn on the goalie anyway. And when that happens early in the game, it's like, and it was the first thing that crossed my mind because I had read about the goal in the play-by-play some of the NHL before I saw it. And I just thought, the first thing that crossed my mind was Skinner. And if you were probably at the game,
yeah.
and that's probably maybe that's unfair on my part, but maybe not. And then when I saw, like initially I saw the goal and I thought, oh, how did he let that in? And I'm sure everyone in the arena was thinking, how did that happen? But when you watch the replay, Draisaitl cruises by there and gets his stick on it, and it changes direction dramatically. And Skinner was tracking it; he would have had it, and then Leon got his stick on it, the shaft of his stick, and it deflected high
Was he
over.
trying to hit it, or was it just
I don't know, Bruce. I'd have to watch it more closely to look at
weird
it, what his intention
weirdness?
was. I think it might have just hit him. It was a
Uh-huh.
very bang bang shot, just a quick
Uh-huh.
shot, and yeah. So that's my bad thing. But Skinner, go
Okay,
on
well,
about him,
Skinner,
Bruce.
yeah, yeah. Well, that was how he started this game after being under the microscope for, one bad game, which apparently you're not allowed to have in this town if you're a goaltender. It's a capital offense. We talked about that last time, and it was, uh, you know, this guy's been delivering a lot of solid games for the Oilers, and this is his last 8 games. Beat Jonathan Quick and the Rangers 6-2 goals against. Beat I think it was Georgiev, wasn't it, for Colorado? No, not a great goaltender, but a contending team in Colorado, 4-1. Lost 1-0 to Aiden Hill and the Vegas Golden Knights. Beat Craig Binnington and the St. Louis Blues 4-2. Uh, beat uh, Andrei Vasilevsky and the Tampa Bay Lightning 2-1. Beat Aiden Hill and the Vegas Golden Knights 6-3. Lost to Sergei Bobrovsky and the Florida Panthers 6-5, and it was not a shining night for either netminder. And tonight beat Jeremy Swayman and the Boston Bruins 3-2 on a night that Boston had, both by our count and natural stat tricks, the better of the prime scoring chances. And that, I mean, I just listed most of the top goalies in the National Hockey League, David. And sure, I mean, they all have different teams playing in front of them, and Skinner has um, the advantage of playing behind the Edmonton Oilers, who can put up some goals for you. But a lot of these are low-scoring games, and I think he's been delivering the goods. He made some big saves tonight. He stopped David Pastrnak on a breakaway. He stopped. There was a couple of saves through traffic. I don't know who shot the puck because I didn't have Jack Michaels in my ear telling me who it was. But there was a one-timer rocket on the power play that he gloved down with. He made it look easy, and
Pasternak.
that was Pasternak again. Yeah, I figured it must have been, and right hand shot. I know that, and he didn't miss. And Stu, 24 saves and 26 shots, 923. And Swayman faced the same number of shots, made a really big mistake. And, Edmonton wound up stealing away with the victory. I'm not sure it's a stolen win by the goalie, but he sure didn't lose it, did he?
I think he stole that.
You can make the case.
So the Boston had 14 grade A shots, Edmonton had 11, and the subset of 5 alarm shots were 9 for Boston and 7 for the Oilers. So you'd expect Boston to have about 4 goals,
right?
With that amount of grade A and five. That's a high subset of 5 alarm shots.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a shot quality was really high for the Bruins, and he did play very well.
Well, natural stat trick had it high danger chances 12-9 for Boston, and it had expected goals 2.33 for Edmonton, 3.36 for Boston. So they had, Boston should have won this game 3-2 essentially.
Yeah.
And Skinner was 1.3, almost 1.4 goals saved better than expected. That's a pretty good night's work. And when you do that and win by 1, the goalie deserves a stick tap, so he's getting one from me.
My good thing, Bruce, is the power line of Hyman, McDavid, and Draisaitl, which was put together in the second period. And, miraculously, 12 minutes into the second period, Hyman throws a shot at net. And it is one of the worst goals against I've seen this year. Like usually there's someone screening or a tick or a possible tick or something. Swayman just totally blew it. Wow, he was awkward. And 2-1. And it's the Edmonton Oilers. And they hadn't been playing well. They'd been playing really poorly. And the top line hadn't been playing well. And it's 2-1. And so in the third period, not a whole heck of a lot was going on. Jeff Skinner had a really good chance about
the best chance
11, 9 minutes in. Yeah, he pounced, and man, it would have been great for him to score, but he did not. He got a good shot in the slot. Mm-hmm. But then with about 3.5 minutes left, the top line is sent out again. And did they ever turn it on? They showed their quality. It starts with I think it's Kulak winning a battle, and McDavid and Draisaitl doing a give and go with the puck as they break in. It ends up with a one-timer from Draisaitl with Hyman setting a screen, and I thought they were going to score there. And when they didn't score, I thought, okay, that's it. This game's over. That was their one really great, because they hadn't had a lot of really great chances against a pretty good Boston defense and a pretty motivated Boston team. They didn't score, but the puck comes out and Bouchard makes a great play at the blue line, lifting a guy's stick, so he can't make a play on it. Then Draisaitl lifts another guy's stick and they win the puck. And Connor and Hyman gets it, makes a really nice back pass as he crosses the blue line, makes a back pass to McDavid, gets it to the right guy. And McDavid charged the net, used his speed to get around the outside, puck protected, started stick handle madly, and worked it, got it past Swayman. It was just a brilliant goal from Connor McDavid, and he's one of the few players who can score like that. There's just a handful of them, and he did it. Then in overtime, it was not really the same group, although Draisaitl was involved. And they broke up the ice. Beautiful pass from Ekholm, splitting two players to Nugent Hopkins. Nugent Hopkins takes it, sets up Draisaitl, and Draisaitl gets a very difficult shot on net. The rebound goes to Nuge, who just so calmly, they're just like, it's like a walk in the park, calmly, perfect hands, everything's light, nice pass to Ekholm, who also really shows tremendous skill on this play. Puts it right where it needs to go. It's not an easy shot to make necessarily, but the puck was on the ice. It was there to take, and he just hammered it in near the post upstairs where Mama keeps the cookies. It was a great sequence in the third period and in overtime. And Draisaitl, he got 3 assists tonight, Bruce. So
unreal.
Yeah, that's my good thing. That line coming alive was just great.
Yeah, that one shift in the third period, like my friend Bill and I that were sitting together were decrying the fact that the first line just didn't really seem to have it going on much in this game. And then finally that shift, they had that great play. And the two cross-ice passes, like we're sitting in the corner behind that net, and the two cross-ice passes right across the slot were the two best passes, like by either guy in the game, right in a row. Bang on McDavid's stick, bang right on the Draisaitl stick, bang right on the net through Hyman's screen. That was a great stop.
Yeah.
And we're going, well, there it is. Oh, at least there's still a couple minutes left. Maybe we can generate one more chance like that. And then that play happened where McDavid got a little sliver of space and was able to cut inside hard and somehow worked it through Swayman. And I got to say, for McDavid, who was named third star in this game, anyway, he had 2 shots on goal in this game, 5 giveaways, 2 for 10 in the face-off circle, and it just was not his A game. And there was a point where I was saying, I've seen him play lots of games live. I know what he can do. But if this was my first NHL game, first time seeing him live, I'd be sort of wondering what all the fuss was about, and then he proved it in about a 5-second burst there. There's reason for that fuss, and even on a bad game, which I thought this was for him, he can still be a game breaker, which is a fantastic thing to have. It helps you win games you don't deserve to win, like this one.
Yeah, he didn't seem to have his legs, did he? Like, and
No,
it's
there's
very
no
uncommon.
speed. No speed from him, really.
It's been more common in the McDavid-Draisaitl era for Leon to have that kind of game, right, where he just
Right.
doesn't have it, and
Got
he's
the
a
heavy legs,
liability.
yeah.
But tonight it was McDavid, and then it wasn't. So that's
Yeah,
the
and
story of
then
a
it wasn't.
superstar. Bruce, I gave my bad thing already. What is your bad thing?
Yeah, well, it's the first period in general. I mean, that goal went in before I even took my seat, but from the time I sat down until the end of the period, I sure didn't see a whole lot to like from the Oilers. And again, I'm going to cheat and use numbers in my bad thing like I did in my good thing. But the number that's on the scoreboard, because they're always constantly updating the stats from the game on the big scoreboard. And at the end of the first period, they had this one: Oilers 1 takeaway, 10 giveaways. And I thought, if that doesn't sort of sum up what the first period was for Edmonton, I don't know what does, because I just couldn't seem to make a pass. They couldn't make 2 passes in a row, to be sure. They just didn't have anything going on at all, and they just weren't involved. And Knobloch said, and there's probably some truth to it, he said they actually thought they were ready. He said they had a good first shift, and then when that goal went in, it was like it just put a pin in their balloon, and the whole team just sort of took a step back. I know they had one shot after like 12 or 13 minutes. They had one shot on that, and then started to slowly get to the point where they were at least competing, because by then it was 2-0, and it was looking real bad. But lots of game left, and I guess they knew it, and they're a veteran enough team to recover from that bad period. But boy, was that a bad period.
Funny, the ups and downs of a hockey season.
Yes,
Bruce?
absolutely. An 82 game season, you're not going to be good every night. And one of the hallmarks of a good team is you can win sometimes when you're not playing your A game. Like I just said, it's a really big difference maker. That on your great nights, when you blow everybody out, you look like $1 million, and unbeatable. But that's not all the games, and it's not all the wins. You got to win gritty, win tough, win against the wind sometimes.
It just reminded me of the Decade of Darkness too, in a different way, like how the Oilers always lost that game because their best players weren't as good as, the Joe Thorntons and the Anze Kopitars and the Mike Medana. Well, Mike Medana, I don't know if he was still playing then, but the the great players on the other teams.
Different decade, different darkness.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Mike Medana.
Bruce,
decade of Dallas.
Yeah. What was your number?
Oh, yeah, number. I'm going to go with Zach Hyman, since his return from injury. He's now played 7 games, 8 goals, 1 assist, +7, I believe. I haven't got the page right in front of me, but I had it. And hey, +7. In particular, that one lonely assist, like he's been scoring every game and making the guys who pick Team Canada look like fools in the process.
Fools.
But tonight, it was his first assist since the Toronto game on November 16th. Now, he didn't play all those games, but he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros in a row. So this was his first assist in a good long time. And what a beauty pass it was, like on that tying goal. When he come in, I thought for sure he's just going to try and barge in between the defensemen and try and slam some shot on the net. And he saw McDavid put the backhand pass just out of the reach of the defenseman and into McDavid's lane, and he took it into the net and did the rest. But what a nice thing. But Hyman, I mean, he was wearing this big big bubble tonight. In fact, they interviewed him after the game, and he still had the bubble on. He had some kind of little nose, well, not little, big nose shield covering his big nose, because his nose grew about 3 sizes after it swelled up from getting smashed with that Bouchard. Well, his own visor smashed his nose when he got hit with a Bouchard shot. Jason Strudwick said his nose looked like a twice-baked potato. And he played through that. Like, some guys might have missed time, but Hyman not only played with, the sore nose and probably not a lot of fun breathing and a huge bubble that's sort of going to affect your vision. And what's he do? Goals, assists, +2, another game, another win, another, big contribution to a win. Named second star in this game, got a huge round of applause from the fans at the end. And Tony Brower, to his credit, first question, he says, "I'm going to put this question to the fans of Rogers Place. What did you think of Zach Hyman playing through this?" And of course, big roar went up, and rightfully so. He earned it.
Indeed. Fantastic. Bruce, my number is 1. Leon Draisaitl is now tied for first place in NHL scoring. Unless Nathan McKinnon's had a big night. I don't know if he's playing, but they both have 50 points. Draisaitl, 3 assists tonight. And at the end of the game, at least, I think he was tied. It's always changing.
Yeah.
But that's
Colorado was playing, but they're
an amazing achievement from Draisaitl to shoot up the rankings like that. And he's tied for first. He is having his best season as an NHL hockey player, and he will have a shot at the MVP this year, Bruce. He'll have to win the scoring race to do that, and it's going to be a challenge to do that if McDavid as his line mate or as his teammate both. And there's all kinds of other really good players. But I think if he wins the scoring race, he'll win the MVP because his defensive play, I don't think he's a Selke trophy winner, but I do think he's a much improved defensive player and has been playing better defensive hockey this year than Connor McDavid, which has never happened, Bruce. Like in all the years we've tracked the grade A shots, we've always had McDavid slightly more stingy in terms of defensive play, leaking fewer chances. But this year, it's Draisaitl, who is the top defensive center against tough competition on the Oilers. McDavid's having actually a pretty rough year defensively. He's been quite inconsistent and leaking way more grade A shots, significantly more than he has in the past. But I don't put much stuff. It's early here, and we'll see what happens. But Leon has really improved, and he's having an MVP season. Good for him.
Yeah, it looks like McKinnon got 2 points tonight. They must not have updated the NHL
See, they never
website
do,
yet.
right?
Just quite
They're
yet.
so slow.
Because
they're so slow.
The scoring leader is listed at this moment as Leon Draisaitl with 50 points. And the race is pretty incredible. Draisaitl 50, McKinnon 50, Kucherov 49, Kaprizov 48, Rantanen 47, McDavid 45.
Yeah.
And then there's Natchez
some pretty good players,
and Marner, Eichel, and Reinhardt all tied with 42. So
wow.
It's like a really tight race with there's no Gretzky 30 points ahead of everybody else, or even there's no McDavid 10 points ahead of everybody else. It's a real set to. A few weeks ago, like McDavid missed 3 games, so Leon was kind of had a little leg up on him, but about 3 weeks ago, McDavid caught Draisaitl, and he actually got 1 point ahead of him. I think it was 32-31. And then Leon went on this ridiculous tear that he continues to be on right now. Where are you? Here we are. Leon. This is Leon since Vegas won the 1-0 game, where obviously he got shut out in that game. 2 goals against Columbus, 2 assists against St. Louis, 1-1 against Tampa, 1-3 against Minnesota, 1-2 against Vegas, 1-1 against Florida, 0-3 against Boston tonight. 7 games in a row with at least 2 points. Like, that's high-end elite to have that many multi-point games in a row. I can't find the record. Nobody seems to know what the record is for consecutive multi-point games. I suspect
Sure,
a
Wayne
good
Gretzky
hard
has it.
browse of the Wayne Gretzky scoring logs would
Yeah,
find some double digit.
38
Uh,
games or
yeah, well,
something
he'd
like.
have the odd 1 point game in there, but
Yeah,
I bet you got it into double digits a couple times for multi-point games. But to do 7 in a row, and again, I'll say what I said before. They're not playing the dregs of the league here. They played a lot of good teams in this last little while and beat most of them. And one of the reasons is Draisaitl keeps popping 2 or 3 points.
Bruce, when's their next game? Saturday
Their
afternoon
next
at
game is
2.
Saturday afternoon against the Sharks, and then they play Sunday 6 p.m. sort of supper hour game against the Senators. And 2 games that look like they might be easy, but they're not as easy as they used to be. But the Sharks, I think, are a way better team this year. Celebrini's a difference maker, but they got other guys that are coming along. Fabian Zetterlund's a good player. They added Tyler Toffoli. They got some stuff going on there in San Jose, and Oilers should beat them, but it's not like a lead pipe cinch. And then you got Ottawa, where Linus Ullmark has revived his game from the dead, and all of a sudden he's winning games and shutting teams out. I think he's given in 5 goals in 6 games. So, and I think they won all those games, which, when you're holding the other team to 1 or none, your chances are pretty good. He's just been on fire. So I expect we'll see him on Sunday. And then they have a 6-day break or 5-day break between games over Christmas. So it's Saturday, Sunday, and then a break. So 3 and 4 days, but no travel.
Great. All righty. Well, let's leave it there, Bruce. Thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.